This is Valley View News.
Israeli airstrikes on Gaza militants have killed several Palestinians and left hundreds wounded.
We need turkeys!
Culver City aimed to bring in 5,000 turkeys to help Los Angeles' largest turkey giveaway. CSUN women's basketball brought home an early victory in their second game of the season.
Hello and welcome to Valley View News. I'm Devin Knight.
And I'm Emily Davies.
Officials in Gaza hospitals say 40 Palestinians have died from Israeli airstrikes. 382 Palestinians, including 137 children, have been wounded. Israel says it is attacking Gaza because the Islamic militant group Hamas fired rockets into Israel. 3 Israelis were killed by the rockets and 7 others have been wounded. Hamas says it fired the rockets because of Israel's ongoing blockades of goods coming into Gaza. Israel launched 1,000 airstrikes against Hamas targets in the first few days of the operation. Several top military commanders of Hamas have been killed by the strikes. Israeli government officials are considering a ground assault on the Gaza Strip. Egypt, Turkey, and the U.S. have been working to stop the fighting, although President Obama says Israel has the right to defend itself from rocket attacks.
The former director of the CIA told lawmakers it was immediately known what group was responsible for the terrorist attacks on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi, Libya. David Petraeus says the administration withheld the information to keep al-Qaeda groups from knowing they were being tracked. Petraeus' testimony comes as both the Republicans and some Democrats continue to criticize the Obama administration's handling of the attacks in September. Petraeus was not asked about the extramarital affair that led to his resignation, but he says he regrets what happened.
President Barack Obama has become the first U.S. president to visit Myanmar and Southeast Asia. The once secretive nation has emerged from decades of authoritarian rule. Obama is expected to urge Southeast Asian government to continue democratic reforms. The White House has billed Obama's visit as a celebration of the recent shift by the Southeast Asian government. But the visit has also been met by criticism with human rights advocates. They argue that the visit is a premature reward for Myanmar's government.
A food drive in Culver City has attracted hundreds of people who stop by to help put food on the tables for struggling Los Angeles families. Reporter Christina Maffatino has more on the story.
The E.J. Jackson Foundation puts together the biggest turkey giveaway in Los Angeles. It was fascinating to see how Culver City encouraged people to donate turkeys and all the fixings.
It was a turkey takeover at Larocco's Pizzeria on Main Street in Culver City. An eventful turkey drive took over half the block, where organizers called to the community for help.
Hope someone out there hears us. We need turkeys.
Boxes were set up Sunday afternoon to collect donations for the E.J. Jackson Foundation's annual turkey giveaway.
This bus behind me is not only being loaded with turkeys, but with other generous donations from the Culver City community, like dressing, canned goods, and mashed potatoes, so people will be able to enjoy a full Thanksgiving meal for free.
Over 10,000 people come out to this annual event, and some have even tried to start lining up 4 days early to make sure they get their turkey. President and founder E.J. Jackson says it's amazing how this event brings the LA community together.
All walks of life are here. We got Muslims, we got Jews, we got Christians, we got Catholics, we got atheists, we have white, we have black, Hispanics, Asians. That's when people helping people.
Pizzeria owner Paul Larocco wanted Culver City to be a part of this great cause.
I said, I'm going to put a drive together for you, for the entire community of Culver City, which has never been done before. So it's the first time an entire city has partnered with Mr. Jackson.
This block party style food drive really grabbed the attention of the community through their entertainment. The DJ kept the crowd alive, and new up-and-coming show called Kids on the Porch had their cast perform a dance. Producer Raina Ray helped make this event happen in Culver City. She says they're aiming to collect 5,000 turkeys.
I tried to take it to another level and get Paul and all of Culver City involved.
This year marks Mr. Jackson's 30th anniversary of providing struggling Los Angeles families and senior citizens with a Thanksgiving meal.
E.J. Jackson also owns his own limousine company, and he's known as the chauffeur to the stars. The entertainment world was also looking to help the cause. At the recent American Music Awards, Jackson had a bus limousine that picked up donations for the turkey giveaway.
Urgent need, less government help, and fewer private donations have left food banks and pantries with less to give away. The president of the Los Angeles Regional Food Bank says the demand for food has outstripped the supplies. The Los Angeles Food Bank reports it has 42% less food than last year.
An organization that once operated out of a garage is now helping needy people in Pacoima. Valley View News reporter Alexa Fung has more on a group called Meet Each Need with Dignity.
A clothing store, a dentist's office, and a supermarket. What do these things have in common? They are a part of MEND, a poverty organization in Pacoima. MEND, or Meet Each Need with Dignity, offers services ranging from a clothing center, food pantry, and nutritional advice for those in poverty.
Not just giving, handouts, but kind of a hand up, since we have job training and opportunities for them to move forward and improve themselves.
MEND was started in a garage of Catholic parishioners in 1971. Co-founder Carolyn Rose says it's the people who make MEND.
The clients, the staff, the volunteers, everybody has such a positive attitude, and it makes you really excited to come here.
MEND serves an average of 30,000 clients each month. The organization is 99% volunteer-driven. One volunteer who started out at MEND serving hours for a parking violation says she stayed because of
the people, helping out the people, especially on Tuesdays. Tuesdays is our homeless, service day. And that's actually my favorite day of the week, because I feel like I'm giving more of myself, to being able to help these people who, don't have a place to live.
I sort of get a lump in my throat all these years, because, it's really special.
MEND offers annual events such as Head to Toes, where children are fitted with brand new shoes and given vision and dental screenings. With 43 million Americans living below the poverty level, MEND offers a helping hand and an open door to any in need. In Pacoima, I'm Alexa Fung for Valley View News.
The victims of a shooting in a Colorado theater will soon receive checks from a $5 million relief fund. Officials say more than 70% of the money will be given to families of those who died or suffered permanent injuries in the attack. They say the payments will not replace those who died nor completely heal their wounds, but they hope it will help their recovery.
It has been a year since a man stormed into a Seal Beach salon and began firing. The alleged gunman Scott DeCray killed 8 people in the coastal community's deadliest shooting. Last spring, the salon was closed and leaders of the church across the street blessed it. And after extensive renovation, the Seal Beach salon is reopening. The contractor says the reopening represents strength and a feeling of accomplishment for the community.
Being late to an LAUSD school used to mean being slapped with a fine. Now the district is trying a different approach. Valley View News reporter Jonathan Gonzalez has more on the story.
The Los Angeles Unified School District has overhauled its truancy policy for high schoolers who can't make it to school on time, meaning students will no longer be hit with $250 fines and possible court dates for being late. Instead, LAUSD's Director of Pupil Services, Deborah Duardo, says,
ideally what would happen is an attendance counselor would sit down and talk to you and let you know that every time you're late, you're missing out part of your instructional day, which can impact your grades, which can mean that you might not graduate on time.
The new, gentler approach is a result of the district working with community organizations to better understand why students show up late.
When students are absent from school, it's usually a symptom of some other problem or dysfunction going on. So it's really about getting to the root of the problem and helping them and getting them support.
With 75% of LAUSD students living in poverty, Duardo says just one ticket could really impact a student financially.
What would happen is a kid would get a ticket. Sometimes they wouldn't tell their parents. So the ticket, they wouldn't show up at court, then the ticket would double in price. Sometimes they would have their ability to get a driver's license taken away. I mean, it really caused a lot of hardship.
Duardo says another problem with the old policy was that students, like those here at James Monroe High School in the San Fernando Valley, would show up just a few minutes late and still get a ticket, which led to a bigger dilemma for the district.
Sometimes if a kid sees a school police officer standing in front of the school and they're on their way to school, they're more likely to say, forget it, I'm not going to get a ticket, I'm just not going to go to school.
For now, the district is looking at other disciplinary actions such as detention or extra homework. But for students who think they may not get caught ditching class, Duardo warns that the policy is only changed for school police.
There's still LAPD and the sheriffs and other law enforcement agencies throughout the city that may still and probably are giving tickets if they come across students that are truant.
I'm Jonathan Gonzalez, Valley View News.
New federal nutrition standards are changing school lunch menus. The standards include more fruits, veggies, whole grains, and no trans fats. LA Unified has already adopted the new food policy. The school system will now be required to buy organic produce and free-range animal products. Education officials say the new food standards are only the start of efforts to make school lunches healthier.
Brazil's public education system is reportedly in crisis. Teachers often stay home rather than teach and still collect their full pay. Many students go to school just for the free lunch and receive almost no education. 10 years ago, a socially conscious leftist party won the presidency and raised millions of people out of poverty. But Brazil's education system never improved. The educational standard remains low, even though Brazil has the world's 6th largest economy. Some people are preparing to say goodbye to their favorite snacks, and we'll see how the Lakers are playing with their new coach. These stories and more after the break.
Right now, over 13 million people are affected by famine, war, and drought in the Horn of Africa. But saving these lives doesn't take a lot. It just takes a lot of us. So I'm forwarding these facts to every shaman, tuk-tuk driver, Sherpa, Kurdistan tea house owner, iguana butcher, and Ozark squirrel chef I've ever met. Text GIVE to 777-444 to donate $10 and forward the facts.
Do you like this top? It's so gay. Really? Yeah, it's totally gay.
You know, you really shouldn't say that.
Say what?
Well, say that something's gay when you mean it's bad. It's insulting. What if every time something was bad, everybody said, "Oh, that's so girl wearing a skirt as a top"?
Oh, you are.
Those are cute jeans, though. When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off.
A vigil has been held in Dublin for a woman who died of blood poisoning after being denied an abortion. Thousands of demonstrators chanted as they marched across the city, holding pictures of Savita Halapanavar. She was hospitalized with severe pain at the start of a miscarriage. Doctors denied her request to have an abortion. She died 3 days later. Activists and the woman's husband says she could have survived if doctors had performed an abortion. Ireland has a confusing abortion law. The practice is outlawed under the Constitution, but the courts have ruled that it should be legal to save a woman's life. The legislature has never passed a law clarifying the issue.
The company that makes Twinkies, Ding Dongs, and Ho-Hos will be sold in a New York bankruptcy court. The company is asking the court for permission to sell assets and go out of business. Hostess has been weighed down by debt, management turmoil, rising labor costs, and the changing of taste of Americans. Companies like Flowers Food, Mickey Foods are interested in bidding for the pieces of Hostess brand. Twinkies alone have brought in $68 million in revenue this year.
A study by the University of Minnesota finds that more teenagers are using steroids and protein powder to bulk up. The survey of teenagers found nearly 35% said they used protein powders and shakes, and almost 6% reported using steroids. The authors found high school boys were 70% more likely than girls to use protein shakes and powders. The authors also found that overweight girls used protein powder more than girls of average weight.
There was a big loss for the USC Trojans this weekend, and NASCAR has named Brad Keselowski the new Sprint Cup champion. Tiffany Miles is going to tell us about these stories and more. Hey, Tiffany.
Hey, Emily. The Cal State Northridge women's basketball team is looking for a second straight win to begin the season. Valley View News reporter Daniel Magallon joins us in the newsroom.
Matadors are off to a 1-0 start. They're looking to improve on last season, which saw them go 17-14 overall and 11-5 in the Big West Conference. I went to the Matadome to catch some of the action. The CSUN women's basketball team ran out onto the court in preparation for the matchup with the Eagles of Eastern Washington. Point guard Ashley Guay leads the Matadors with 20 points a game heading into the match. The Matadors won the tip and scored the first points of the game with a version of the skyhook by Camille Monkanek. But 3 minutes into the game, the Matadors lose Guay for the rest of the first half. CSUN coach Jason Flowers is not too happy with the call. The loss of their best player sparked the Matadors as Malkanek grabbed an offensive rebound and lays it back in to put CSUN up by 9. On this play, Malkanek records her first double-double of her career in the first half of the game. After a bucket by the Eagles' Aubrey Ashenfelter in the second half, the CSUN coaching staff demanded more defensive intensity. Guay fought through her foul trouble and ended the game with 14 points, all in the second half. Coach Flowers says the win was because of a collective team effort.
We preach and really talk about team. And so, when somebody is out, because of injury or, foul trouble or, whatever, the next person is ready to step in. And I think that's what the group showed tonight.
My teammates set me up, and I just tried to crash the boards as hard as possible, so I was able to get some easy buckets.
It was hard to sit out the first half, but it doesn't matter. When one of us is out, we still work hard, and they did great. Without me, it doesn't matter if I'm in or not. They played well. They played defensively well, and they played offensively well, and they all just had their own spark. So I was mad that I was out, but I was happy to be a part cheering them on as they were doing well.
The Matadors were picked to finish first atop the Big West standings by the media. After their win tonight, they'll travel to Arizona to take on the Wildcats. Reporting from the Matadome, I'm Daniel Magallon, Valley View News.
Now let's take it to the big leagues. The Lakers take on the Houston Rockets. And Kobe Bryant performs his 18th triple-double, 22 points, 11 rebounds, and 11 assists. Triple-double seems to be Bryant's new normal, but this game's high score belongs to Dwight Howard with 28 points with moves like this. Lakers snatch the W at 119-108. This is their fourth triple-digit battle since Bernie Bickerstaff took over for Mike Brown. The USC and UCLA football teams met for their annual rivalry, and it was set to be the most competitive match-up between the teams in recent years. The Trojans had won the last 5 years by a combined score of 158-35. It was raining all over Los Angeles, but it stayed dry for most of the game at the Rose Bowl. On the first play, USC senior quarterback Matt Barkley throws his 14th interception of the year. Just over a minute later, UCLA's freshman QB Brett Hundley takes it in to put the Bruins on the board first. UCLA actually scored the first 24 points of the game. USC would fight on back though. This fumble recovery for a touchdown made it 20-24. But the Bruins would not be denied. Running back Jonathan Franklin takes it in from 29 yards out, and UCLA takes down USC 38-28. The Bruins will play in the Pac-12 championship game. In addition to losing the game, the Trojans lost their quarterback. Barkley sprained his AC joint in his throwing shoulder when he was sacked in the fourth quarter. Barkley is not slated to play in USC's final regular season game against top-ranked Notre Dame. Now let's get to the NFL. Dallas faced off Cleveland, but it was a struggle. The Browns put up a tough first half and were first up on board with this bullet to the tight end, Benjamin Watson. Cowboys QB Tony Romo doing just the opposite, throwing to nowhere, nearly hitting the bullseye on the marker. And Romo's fallout continues throughout the half. Cleveland's D goes in for the kill, pushing back the Cowboys, and no chance to get out of the red. Dallas is able to come out on top 23-20. NASCAR has crowned a new champion. 28-year-old Brad Keselowski was the first place in point standings, and 5-time champion Jimmy Johnson was in second. To take first, Johnson needed to lead most of the race, win it, and Keselowski had to finish outside of the top 15. And through much of the race, Johnson did exactly what he needed to do. He was in the lead coming into his last pit stop, but the crew left off a lug nut on one of the tires. Johnson had to come back to the pit. Then a parts failure in his gears forced him to stay off the track even longer. Johnson finished 36th. Jeff Gordon took the checkered flag at the Ford EcoBoost 400 in Homestead, Florida, but the man of the day was Keselowski, winning his first Sprint Cup championship. That's all we have for sports. Back to you.
The Biebs was a big winner at the 40th American Music Awards, and Breaking Dawn Part 2 swept the box office. We've got these stories and more coming up in our entertainment report.
If you don't talk to your kids, I will.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're gonna beat them and bust them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a dad today. Call or visit fatherhood.gov to learn more.
An LA neighborhood has received top honors for being trendy. Valley View News reporter Dennis Rue has the story.
Just east of Hollywood lies Silver Lake, a trendy area that Forbes magazine has just named America's best hipster neighborhood. Best known to Angelenos for its large reservoir, there is much cultural life going on in this area too. According to locals, the most trendy and hipster area in all of Silver Lake is Sunset Junction, between Sunset Boulevard and Hyperion Boulevard. Sunset Junction features much of the criteria in what makes a neighborhood hipster, according to Forbes, including a pedestrian and cyclist-friendly environment, many coffee shops, and a big art scene. Many have noticed the shift.
I've lived here all my life, and I remember before all of this happened, there's just a lot of Latinos here. Now it's changed.
Many businesses here are small and focus on the art scene, for a place that has long been known to be a gay-friendly neighborhood.
It was a lot less hipster, that's what I'll say, and then it definitely grew to become more hipster when more diversity started to move in.
Hangouts for the many young locals include popular coffee shops like Intelligentsia. Just a walk down the street will show you how eclectic this area is. But some like this resident wonder if Silver Lake will be trendy for much longer.
I think suddenly it just got less hip, didn't it? I mean, once you're outed as being hip, and takes away the factor of being underground.
Silver Lake also has the famed VDL Research House, home to the late Austrian modernist architect Richard Neutra. Some residents were surprised at Silver Lake's high hipster ranking on the list.
There's a lot of stiff competition with Williamsburg and the Mission in San Francisco, so it's a big feat.
The hipster top spot will have to work hard to fend off competition for next year. From Silver Lake, I'm Dennis Aru, Valley View News.
Forbes compiled the hipster rankings with the help of website nextdoor.com.
Here's the scoop.
There was a slight decline in the AMA ratings this year, and Khloe Kardashian is trying to perfect her hosting on X Factor. Here's Maribel Serrano with the latest from Hollywood.
Thanks, Devin. The American Music Awards celebrated 40 years. The event was held at the Nokia Theater in Hollywood. The big winner was none other than the young pop singer Justin Bieber.
This is Justin Bieber's 7th American Music Award and 3rd win tonight.
It appears Bieber fever is still going strong. His wins included the top award of the show, Artist of the Year. Bieber brought his mom on stage with him to accept the trophy. He said it's been hard growing up with everyone watching him and asked people to continue believing in him. Even though not every artist won big at the AMAs, many got the chance to be on stage. The show featured performances by Usher, Kelly Clarkson, Kesha, The Wanted, Taylor Swift, Pink, and Nicki Minaj. But according to Billboard's Countdown, MC Hammer and Korean pop singer Psy had the best performance. The two artists perform a mashup of Gangnam Style and Too Legit to Quit. The performance would just not have been complete without the Hammer pants. Despite the fun-filled AMA show, the telecast ratings are down 21% from last year. In recent years, broadcast scripted shows have been losing viewers, but award shows have remained strong. This year, the AMA show hit an all-time low with an average of 9.5 million viewers. This is down from 12 million viewers last year. Selena Gomez and Taylor Swift met for some girl chat during what appears to be a roller coaster for Selena's relationship. The girls were seen laughing and sharing an Italian meal at a restaurant. It was reported that Taylor was counseling Selena on how to mend a broken heart. Both girls are single, but Taylor is rumored to be having a fling with One Direction's Harry Styles. Khloe Kardashian says she gets advice on hosting X Factor from her mom, Kris Jenner. The reality star is just a couple of weeks into her hosting gig, and reports say she is slowly getting the hang of it. She was criticized on her first week of hosting the show for making quirky comments like calling Simon Cowell Mr. Sexy. Khloe says she is still learning and trying to get better each week. The movie Twilight tops the box office this weekend. It took in an estimated $141 million. The final film of the Twilight series scored the 8th biggest opening weekend of all time, but it still fell short behind New Moon, which came out in 2009. Skyfall came in second at the box office, followed by Steven Spielberg's Lincoln. We'll see who will be at the top of the box office next week. That's all for entertainment. Back to you.
People looking for unusual wedding clothes and accessories could find plenty of them at an event in Los Angeles. Valley View News reporter Vanessa Soto was there and tells us more.
Wedding artisans presented unique wedding resources during the bridal art event at the Works of Art Hair Studio on Hollywood Boulevard. Out-of-the-box bridal artisan Lisa Stromberg says she can customize her wedding jewelry collection.
This always starts with getting to know the couple, finding out who are they, what are they about, what are their value system as a person before I will ever suggest any designs. We did this large floral bouquet.
Florist of Jasmine's Garden Boutique, Candice Medesian, showcased unique centerpieces and bridal bouquets.
An example of what we did today that has a contemporary touch of these colored calla lilies, this colored bouquet, which I think a lot of people like.
The public enjoyed samples of cakes and catering of Lark Silver Lake Cake Shop and Kitchen 12,000. President of Event Finesse, John Fatu, likes the samples.
The useful ingredients, the flavor combinations were good.
Models wore Alina Pisano wedding dresses during the bridal fashion show. Models had their makeup done by Mariah Nicole Makeup and Hair Artistry. Models also had their hair styled by hairstylists in Works of Art Hair Studio. Model Lena O'Brien says she likes the hairstyles because they're edgy.
I love it. Art was going for the more of like a mohawk. He wanted something different, and it was a lot of fun.
In Los Angeles, I'm Vanessa Soto reporting for Valley View News.
San Francisco may soon tell its famous nudists to put some clothes on. City lawmakers are scheduled to vote on an ordinance that would prohibit nudity in most public places. The proposal would make it illegal for people over the age of 5 to expose themselves in a public place. Dozens of protesters have disrobed in front of City Hall and marched around the block. They say that the ban infringes on free speech rights of people who don't want to wear clothes.
Thank you for watching Valley View News. I'm Devin Knight.
And I'm Emily Davies. Have a great day.